Have you ever wondered if there's a way to unlock hidden reserves of energy and vitality? To add years to your life, but not just any years, years where you actually feel vibrant and alive.
I think most of us are looking for that fountain of youth in some way.
Exactly. And what if it's simpler than we think? What if making just small tweaks to our daily routines could make a huge difference in how long and how well we live?
It's definitely a compelling idea.
It is. Welcome to the deep dive. And today we're diving deep, really deep, into the world of longevity habits.
That's fascinating.
Oh, it is. We've got this document packed with information about habits that can help us live longer and healthier lives.
A roadmap to a better, longer life, huh?
You got it. And before we forget, a huge thank you to London HeartbeatsZ Academy, UK, for their awesome support.
Yeah.
They've got over 150 courses on all sorts of well-being topics.
That's a lot.
I know, right? And they're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Go check them out. You won't regret it. Okay, back to our deep dive. This PDF, 10 longevity habits. Let's unpack them.
All right, sounds good.
Right off the bat, it talks about something called hollow habits. Have you heard of this?
I have, actually. It's this idea that instead of trying to overhaul our entire lives, we can focus on one habit at a time and build from there.
Kind of like a step-by-step approach to a healthier life.
Yeah, exactly. And the document even starts with this really powerful quote from Einstein about finding balance through movement. It seems like hollow habits is all about recognizing that everything is connected, our physical health, mental health, and how our habits all weave together.
Makes sense. And right after that, it goes straight into what it calls nature's basic elements. It seems almost too simple. Clean air, sunlight, connecting with nature, and having strong social connections.
It's funny how we often overlook the most basic things, right? But think about it. We evolved in nature, surrounded by fresh air, sunlight, and in communities. It makes sense that these things are still crucial for our well-being.
Absolutely. And then we get to sleep. And this is where things get really interesting, especially when the document starts talking about the hallmarks of aging. Basically, it says that not getting enough sleep or having consistently poor sleep can mess with our cells in some pretty serious ways.
Now, this is something people really need to pay attention to.
It mentions things like damage to our DNA, which is
Yeah.
kind of scary, and then cellular senescence, where our cells stop dividing properly. Telomere attrition, which is the shortening of those protective caps on our chromosomes.
Right. Those are crucial for maintaining the integrity of our DNA.
Yeah, and then mitochondrial dysfunction, like our cells aren't generating energy efficiently, and a breakdown in how our cells manage proteins, which is also pretty important. That's a whole lot of potential problems just from not sleeping well.
It is a lot, and the document actually cites some studies to back this up. Like, there's one from 2016 that found even partial sleep deprivation can kickstart aging processes in older adults, and another one that linked sleep apnea, that breathing problem during sleep, with faster aging.
So it's not just about feeling tired, it's like literally affecting how our bodies age.
That's the point. We need to take sleep seriously.
Right. And speaking of taking it seriously, high-quality sleep is linked to a lower risk of dying, period. It also helps prevent things like heart disease and metabolic disorders, which, are no joke.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? If we're not giving our bodies time to repair and recharge, everything starts to wear down faster.
It's like running a car without ever changing the oil.
Yeah.
Eventually, something's going to give.
Perfect analogy. And the document really emphasizes deep sleep. We should be aiming for about 25% of our sleep to be in that deep stage. So that's over 2 hours for most people.
Wow, that's more than I thought.
Yeah. But deep sleep is where the magic happens. Our brains are clearing out waste, our bodies are repairing tissue, and inflammation goes down. There's even research showing how deep sleep helps with brain fluid oscillations, which are essential for removing toxins.
Fascinating. So how much sleep are we talking about in total?
The document suggests 7.5 to 8 hours a night for the best health outcomes, and actually it mentions the author personally aims for more than 8.
More power to them. I know I always feel better with a solid 8 hours.
Me too. But it's important to remember everyone's a little different. Listen to your body. And there's this really interesting paper from 2015 that talks about how our sleep, brain function, and immune system are all interconnected.
It's all connected. I think we're starting to see a pattern here.
Definitely. Now moving on to the second habit, circadian rhythm alignment. This one's all about working with our natural body clock instead of against it.
Ah, like those morning people versus night owls.
Exactly. The document actually gives an example schedule, waking up between 6 and 8 a.m. or 9 and 11 a.m., going to bed between 8 and 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. and 1 a.m., stuff like that.
So it's not just about how much we sleep,
Yeah,
but when we sleep.
you got it. Aligning with our circadian rhythm helps our metabolism, boosts our immune system, and even sharpens our thinking. It's like when everything's in sync, we function better on every level.
And this ties into longevity, right?
Big time. Research shows that people from families with longer lifespans tend to have more robust circadian rhythms.
Interesting. So maybe it's partly genetic?
Could be. But the key is that those rhythms are regulating all sorts of vital processes like DNA repair, hormone release, and even cell cycles. There are a ton of studies backing this up.
Wow. Okay, so aligning with our natural rhythms is a must. What's next on this longevity list?
Next up is daily sunlight exposure.
Ah, sunshine. Some people love it, some people avoid it.
I think it's all about finding that balance. The document actually calls sunlight a trigger for healing gene sequences,
Hmm.
which is a pretty powerful statement. The author aims for 9 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes midday.
Okay, so moderate exposure is key, but we've all heard about the dangers of too much sun.
Right. That's where the concept of hormesis comes in. It's like small doses of something that could be harmful in large amounts can actually be beneficial. Sunlight's a perfect example. We need it for vitamin D, for regulating our sleep-wake cycle, for our mood, and for our heart health. But too much can obviously damage our skin.
So just like with most things in life, moderation is key.
Exactly. Find that sweet spot, not too little, not too much.
All right, sunshine check. What else is there?
This one's nice. Spending time in the forest.
I can get behind that.
Just 10 minutes in a forest can lower your blood pressure and pulse rate. And if you stay for 20 minutes, your mood lifts and your focus sharpens. Nature's like a reset button for our minds and bodies.
It really is. I always feel so much calmer after a walk in the woods.
And it's not just you. There's tons of research proving the benefits of nature on our physical and mental health. The sights, the sounds, the fresh air, it's all good for us.
Okay, so nature time is essential. This next one's interesting. Live longer together with close to nature. It talks about how living in an environment with diverse nature can improve our quality of life and reduce our risk of getting sick.
Makes sense. We thrive when we're surrounded by nature.
Right. And it emphasizes how important friendships and social connections are. This is, they can actually help prevent chronic illnesses and make us happier overall.
I'm not surprised. We're social creatures by nature. We need those connections. There's research showing strong social ties actually make us more resilient to stress and even live longer.
I believe it. And the document even mentions a study linking green living environments to lower rates of illness. It's like everything's connected, our environment, our social lives, our health. It's all part of the same puzzle.
Absolutely. We can't ignore any piece of it if we want to live long and well.
So true. Now, this next habit is something I've heard about but don't know much about. The health benefits of grounding.
Grounding or earthing. It's basically the idea of connecting directly with the Earth's surface, like walking barefoot on grass or sand.
Interesting. What's the thinking behind it?
The theory is that the Earth's surface has a negative electrical charge, and direct contact can help neutralize excess positive charge in our bodies, which can build up from things like stress and exposure to electronics. The document lists a bunch of potential benefits, from reducing inflammation and improving sleep to boosting energy and even easing pain.
I'm intrigued. I'll have to look into this more.
Me too.
Yeah.
There's definitely more research needed, but the early findings are promising.
Okay, so now we're moving into a more personalized realm. The document dives into personal longevity diet based on genetic data. It's all about tailoring our diet to our unique genes.
This is where things get really interesting. We're moving beyond general recommendations and into the world of personalized nutrition.
Exactly. So what kind of recommendations are we talking about?
Well, the document suggests a Mediterranean-style diet as a base, with a slightly higher emphasis on lean protein, about 25% of total calories. It also talks about making sure we're getting enough of specific nutrients like certain B vitamins, folate, and choline.
So it's Mediterranean, but with some tweaks based on genetics?
Exactly. And in this case, it recommends eliminating gluten due to a potential intolerance and limiting coffee to 1 cup a day.
And why those specific recommendations?
The document explains how those choices are meant to optimize specific biological processes. For example, more lean protein and certain nutrients are important for healthy fat metabolism and methylation, which is super important for a bunch of cellular functions.
It's like giving our bodies the exact fuel they need.
Precisely. And there's also a big focus on antioxidants to combat inflammation and oxidative stress.
Makes sense. So your recommended diet is basically a summary of those personalized guidelines.
Right. Mediterranean style, bump up the protein from both plants and lean animal sources, and make sure you're not deficient in any key nutrients.
Got it. And then there's a little reminder about exercise timing and how it affects our metabolism.
Right. Exercising in the morning is often best for keeping our circadian rhythm in check.
It all comes back to that internal clock.
It really does.
Okay, so the document also has some advice on changing our taste preferences. It says we should challenge our bitter taste sensitivity by eating more young vegetables and using herbs and spices. And on the flip side, control your sweet tooth.
I love that. It's all about retraining our palates to crave healthy foods. Bitter flavors are often found in really beneficial plant compounds, while too much sweetness can lead us down a slippery slope.
So true. And then we get a section on Mediterranean diet and longevity. No surprises there.
The Mediterranean diet's a classic for a reason. It's been linked to longer lifespans and lower rates of chronic diseases in countless studies.
It's a winner for sure. And speaking of winners, dark chocolate, berries, and leafy greens get a shout out.
Those are antioxidant powerhouses. They fight inflammation and oxidative stress like champs.
Gotta love that.
Yeah.
Then we get into protein intake and longevity. Important, especially as we get older.
Absolutely. The document recommends getting enough protein from sources like lean meats, eggs, and fish. It's crucial for maintaining muscle mass, which is essential for preventing falls and staying active as we age.
Strong muscles, strong body, strong life.
Exactly. And don't forget about extra virgin olive oil. EVOO is a staple of the Mediterranean diet, and for good reason. The document suggests aiming for 30 to 50 grams a day.
That's a good amount of olive oil. What makes it so special?
It's packed with healthy monounsaturated fats and polyphenols, which have powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. There's a lot of research showing it's good for our hearts, our brains, and even helps protect against certain cancers.
Okay, EVO, check. Now we're getting into the 10th habit, physical exercise and body maintenance. This is where things get really personalized again.
Right. This section includes a summary of key exercise areas and a personalized exercise response analysis based on genetics. It's all about figuring out what kind of exercise is best suited for each individual.
So it's not just about generic advice like go for a run or lift weights.
Nope. It's about tailoring the exercise plan to your unique genetic makeup and potential strengths and weaknesses.
Love that. So for weight loss, the document recommends a low to moderate med-hours exercise plan. What exactly does that mean?
Basically, it means focusing on activities that aren't super intense but can be sustained for longer periods. Think brisk walking, swimming, cycling. These types of activities are great for burning fat.
Got it. And it also mentions that this particular individual has a high genetic potential for endurance training.
Right, so they might be naturally better suited for activities like long-distance running or cycling rather than, say, short bursts of intense exercise.
Makes sense. And what other areas does this personalized analysis look at?
It looks at things like susceptibility to muscle cramps, how quickly someone recovers from exercise, and even their likelihood of benefiting from endurance-style workouts.
So it takes everything into account. Pretty cool.
It is. And based on this analysis, the document recommends aiming for over 20 meat hours of activity per week with a mix of strength training, cardio, and flexibility work.
So a well-rounded approach.
Yeah.
And it also emphasizes the importance of rest, sleep, and flexibility for preventing injuries.
Exactly. It's not just about pushing hard, it's about listening to your body and giving it the recovery it needs.
Makes sense. Now, the document also lays out a more general science-based exercise regime for longevity for those who might not have access to personalized genetic analysis.
Right. This is more like the standard recommendations based on current scientific understanding.
So what does that look like?
It recommends 150 to 300 minutes of cardiovascular exercise per week, like brisk walking, cycling, or swimming. And it emphasizes the importance of having a high VO2 max.
VO2 max, that's like a measure of how efficiently our body uses oxygen, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And the higher our VO2 max, the lower our risk of dying from any cause. It's a really good indicator of overall health and fitness.
So get that heart pumping.
You got it. And then there's strength training. At least twice a week is recommended to build and maintain muscle mass, which we know is so crucial as we get older.
Keeps us strong and independent.
Exactly. And lastly, don't forget about flexibility and recovery.
Stretching, yoga, Pilates, all that good stuff.
Exactly. Aim for at least 30 to 45 minutes once a week. It helps prevent injuries and keeps our bodies moving smoothly.
Love it. Okay, this next one's interesting. Regular body maintenance.
This is about incorporating things like acupuncture, osteopathy, and physiotherapy into your routine.
So those complementary therapies can actually contribute to longevity.
They can. The document specifically mentions myofascial release, a type of massage that focuses on releasing tension in the connective tissues. There's a good amount of research showing these types of therapies can be really helpful for managing pain, improving mobility, and just keeping our bodies functioning optimally.
I'm a big believer in those types of things.
Me too. They can make a big difference in how we feel.
All right, next up, meditation, mindfulness, and breath. These practices seem to be getting more and more attention these days.
And for good reason. The document lists a whole bunch of benefits, like longer telomeres, which are those protective caps on our chromosomes, reduced stress, better emotional regulation, improved physical health, and even sharper cognitive function.
Wow, that's quite a list.
It is.
Yeah.
And the document even shares the author's personal routine. They do a morning sauna session with meditation and Wim Hof breathing, practice nasal breathing throughout the day, do some relaxing breath work in nature in the evening, and then a longer meditation before bed.
Sounds like a pretty dedicated practice.
It is, but it shows how you can weave these practices into your everyday life.
Makes sense.
Hmm.
Now let's talk saunas. Health benefits of traditional Finnish sauna. I'm actually a big fan of saunas myself.
They're great. And the research backs it up. Regular sauna use has been linked to improved heart health, better cognitive function, stronger lungs, improved mental well-being, even pain relief, and better overall quality of life.
And it can help us live longer.
There's evidence suggesting it can. The document recommends using a sauna 4 to 7 days a week for 20 to 30 minutes at a temperature of 75 to 100 degrees Celsius.
So pretty hot.
Yeah, but that heat stress triggers a bunch of beneficial processes in the body. The document goes into detail about how saunas activate specific pathways that protect our cells from damage and boost our resilience.
Fascinating. It's amazing how something as simple as sitting in a hot room can have such profound effects on our biology.
It really is. And speaking of temperature extremes, the document also talks about the benefits of regular cold exposure.
Like cold showers or ice baths.
Exactly. It might not sound pleasant, but the research suggests it can be really good for us. Cold exposure can improve our metabolism, boost our energy levels, and even help with weight management. It also enhances mental toughness and resilience.
I can see that. It's definitely a challenge.
It is, but it's a challenge with potential rewards.
Right. And the document mentions cold exposure activates cold shock proteins, which are involved in repairing our cells. It's like a reset button for our bodies.
It's like a shock to the system that ultimately makes us stronger and healthier.
I like that. So cold exposure can improve our metabolism and make us mentally tougher. What else can it do?
Well, the document highlights a study showing that acute cold exposure can actually increase heart rate variability and improve how our autonomic nervous system functions.
That's the system that controls all our automatic bodily functions, right? Breathing, heart rate, digestion, all that.
Exactly. And good autonomic nervous system function is essential for stress management, recovery from exercise, and overall well-being.
Makes sense. And then there's this concept called cross-adaptation. What's that all about?
It's the idea that adapting to one kind of stress, like cold exposure, can actually make us more resilient to other stressors as well. It's like our body learns to cope better with challenges in general.
Interesting. So cold showers might actually make us better at handling stress in all areas of life.
Potentially, yes. And there's even research showing how cold water immersion can help our bodies recover faster after exercise.
Wow. Okay, I'm definitely going to have to reconsider those cold showers.
Give it a try. Start gradually. You might be surprised by how good you feel.
Okay, now we're getting into the realm of testing.
Basically a way to measure various markers in your body that can give you insights into your overall health and identify any potential areas where you might need to focus more attention.
So it's like a personalized health assessment.
Exactly. It looks at things like amino acids, fatty acids, hormones, minerals, mitochondrial function, and vitamin levels. The document even shares some example before and after results, showing how lifestyle changes and targeted interventions can improve these biomarkers.
So it's not just about guessing, it's about getting data to guide our decisions.
Precisely. Data-driven wellness.
I like it. And then there's a section on enhancing NAD+ production. NAD+ Plus, that's a molecule that's been getting a lot of buzz in the longevity world lately.
It is. It plays a crucial role in cellular energy production, DNA repair, and a whole bunch of other important processes. And as we age, our NAD plus levels naturally decline.
So the goal is to keep those levels up.
Exactly. And the document outlines several strategies for doing that, like boosting an enzyme called NAMPT, which helps recycle NAD plus A, inhibiting another enzyme called CD38, which consumes NAD plus A, and paying attention to methylation processes, which can also impact NAD plus levels.
Okay, so it's all about optimizing those biochemical pathways.
Precisely. Now, the author also shares their top 5 longevity basic supplements.
Let's hear them.
Okay, so first up is magnesium. It's involved in hundreds of processes in the body, so it's super important for overall health.
Magnesium, always a good one. What else?
Then there's creatine monohydrate. It's well known for boosting muscle strength and power, but it also has benefits for brain health and cognitive function.
Interesting. I didn't know that about creatine.
Yeah, it's not just for athletes anymore. Next is a combo of glycine and N-acetylcysteine, or GLC for short. It's a powerful antioxidant that can help protect our cells from damage.
Antioxidants are always good. What's next?
Omega-3 long-chain fatty acids. The good fats found in fatty fish like salmon and sardines, they're anti-inflammatory and crucial for heart and brain health.
I take those regularly. Okay, what's the last one?
Taurine. It's an amino acid that plays a role in a whole range of bodily functions, from regulating heartbeat to protecting our brains and even supporting muscle function.
Wow, that's quite a diverse supplement list. Sounds like a solid foundation for longevity.
I think so. Now, the final topic covered in this document is health and longevity benefits of intermittent fasting and calorie health.
Intermittent fasting has become super popular in recent years.
It has, and for good reason. The document lists a bunch of potential benefits, like improved insulin sensitivity, lower body fat, reduced risk of chronic diseases, and even some exciting benefits at the cellular level, like increased autophagy, which is that process of cleaning up cellular debris.
So it's not just about weight loss.
Definitely not. It seems to have these deeper systemic effects that can really impact how we age.
Fascinating. And then it touches on calorie restriction. I know that's been a hot topic in longevity research for a while now.
It has. The idea is that by reducing our calorie intake without causing malnutrition, we might be able to slow down the aging process and live longer.
Interesting. So intermittent fasting and calorie restriction are both potential tools in the longevity toolbox.
It seems so. And finally, the very last topic is red light and near-infrared light therapy, also known as photobiomodulation. Have you heard of this?
I have. It's like shining specific wavelengths of light on our bodies for therapeutic purposes.
Exactly. The document explains how it works at a cellular level, involving things like the respiratory chain in our cells, nitric oxide production, and energy production. It also lists a bunch of potential longevity benefits, like protecting our brains, helping nerves heal faster, reducing inflammation, and even improving our metabolism.
Wow, that's a lot of potential benefits from just shining light on ourselves.
I know, right? It sounds almost too good to be true.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground today. Can we try to summarize all of this into like the top 5 takeaways for our listener? What are the absolute must-dos for a longer, healthier life?
Absolutely. Okay, so number 1, make sleep a priority. Aim for 7.5 to 8 hours of high-quality sleep every night and work on aligning your sleep-wake cycle with your natural circadian rhythm.
Makes sense. Sleep is the foundation of everything. What's number 2?
Get moving and get outside. Regular exercise and spending time in nature are essential for both our physical and mental well-being.
I love that. Okay, number 3.
Eat a personalized, nutrient-rich diet, ideally one that's tailored to your individual needs and maybe even your genetics. And if you need to, consider adding some key supplements to fill any gaps.
Great advice. What's number 4?
Explore practices like meditation, mindfulness, and breath work. And don't be afraid to experiment with heat and cold exposure. These can be really powerful tools for reducing stress and boosting resilience.
And our final takeaway.
Embrace a personalized approach to your health. Learn about your own unique biology, maybe through genetic testing or biomarker testing, and use that information to make informed decisions about your lifestyle. It's all about finding what works best for you.
I love that. So we've got sleep, nature, diet, mindfulness, and personalization. It seems like living a longer, healthier life is about taking a holistic approach, paying attention to all aspects of our well-being.
Exactly. It's not about any one magic bullet. It's about creating a lifestyle that supports us on every level.
That's a great way to put it. Now, for our listener, I want you to think about this. What's one small change you could make starting today that could have a ripple effect on your health and longevity? It could be as simple as going to bed 15 minutes earlier, taking a walk in the park, or adding an extra serving of veggies to your dinner. Every little step counts. And if you... Thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive. We'll see you next time.